What a great win for our program to get a win over a top 10 team. It just speaks volume of where we're going with the process of what we're doing with this program and how we're taking it and moving it towards the top of this league. And we got off to a rough start here, starting 1-4. And as I told the team yesterday, we got to get back to playing Ole Miss basketball. We did not do that during that four-game stretch. We kind of took blows from people, and just like you're in a boxing match and you just keep taking blow after blow after blow, eventually you fall down. And we had to start delivering some blows, and we had to do that with our defensive intensity. And we yesterday in practice, I challenged them to get back to doing that, and probably had our best practice that we've had all year, and got back to playing Ole Miss basketball. And we disrupted Kentucky all night. They're a great basketball team. They got one of the best players, if not the best player in our league, and Michaela Epps. She's one of the top 2 or 3 in the league, and she had a great game. And I don't even have a stat sheet, but I know that we did a great job of disrupting them offensively, getting them out of their sets, making them play one-on-one basketball, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're a great defensive team. Shaquilla Joseph had a great night, probably her best night she's been at Ole Miss, and I've challenged her also, and our coaching staff has challenged her. She is a junior. She's playing with a bunch of young players. She's one player that's got experience on this team. She's the one, and her and Erica Sisk are two of the, and Queen Hayes are two of the 3 of the ones that do have experience, and they have to play with that experience. They can't play with inexperience, and we've talked to her a lot about that. In the last couple of games, she's been really good. She was good at state the other night. Queen Hayes was good at state the other night. They got lost in that, and we went down there and just and had a bad quarter, and that hurt us. But being able to come here and put 4 quarters together, being able to take runs, just what an unbelievable win going into an off weekend.
Questions for Coach? I think you told me yesterday morning you felt good with this matchup, and obviously it showed out there. But what did you see out there tonight that proved you correct?
There's 3 teams in this league, as I told you, that we don't match up well with, and that's State, and that's South Carolina, and Texas A&M. Why don't we not match up well with them? We're not a small team, but they got 6'7" and 6'6" inside. And that's hard for Shaq and those guys, and they're battling them. They played hard in there, but when you're 6'7", your wingspan could be 7 foot. And you know, Shaq's wingspan is not that. And so Kentucky's and everybody else in the league that we play is 6'2" and 6'3", so we can match with that. And so that I felt like this matchup was good from that standpoint. I also felt like that our guards are good enough to guard those guards. I felt real good about Queen Hayes and the way she's been playing. She went through a lull there during this 4-game losing streak where our all-conference point guard from a year ago was not performing like one. And she knew that. It bothered her more than it bothered me. And but she got back in the gym and got to work and was not going to let that define her. And your character is basically defined in adverse situations. And we hit adversity starting 1-4, and we had to find a way to get out of that. Are we out of it yet? No, by no means. But we're in a 12-game season right now, and we started that 12-game season at State, and we got beat. We're 1-1 in that 12-game season. I told them, if you have a winning record or a 500 record in that 12-game season, you're going to be sitting here with 7 or 8, 9 wins in the league. So focus on that, not what we've done in the past, not starting 1-4. And we've done that, and you saw that tonight. But I felt good about the matchup. I did.
It seemed like you guys were hitting shots tonight. That was one thing. When Kentucky made the run, you came back and just started making shots on the other end and started pushing it.
We're a good shooting team. I've said that in a lot of press conferences. We get rushed, and that comes with youth. You get a little nervous about, should I shoot, should I not? Sandrika gets a wide-open layup one time, and she's looking over at the bench. Should I go or not? As the time's running down, I'm like, go lay it up. Stop looking over here. But that's part of youth, and we're a good shooting team. And I'll tell you about this team. They work on shooting more than any team I've ever coached in my 8 years in this league. They get in the gym. This morning, I look out there, and there's 5 or 6 of them at 8 o'clock this morning in the gym shooting shots. So they take it real serious, and they knew we haven't been making them. But tonight, we did. But we took good shots. We executed offensively. We didn't get rushed. And my job as a coach is not, as I told them, I've got to do a better job. I feel like we're getting good shots and we're missing them. I got to get us easy shots. And I felt like we did a good job of getting easy shots. Shaq's 12 attempts were her attempts. There were shots that she knows she can make. There were easy shots for her. Queen Hayes' easy shots that she can make. Medina Muhammad was 1 of 10 in the first half from the field. I didn't feel like that she shot that many times because she took good shots. And they just went in and out. But she works on her shooting more than anybody. She was 1 in there at 8 o'clock this morning. So I know she'll shoot better. Tori Lewis, 1 of 5. She'll shoot better. And so that's just youth, but we're a good shooting team. And we made shots when we had to make shots. We made layups, which we have a hard time doing from time to time. But it's just real proud of them. We beat a top 10 team. I don't care who you are. When you beat a top 10 team, that's a big win. It's a big win. And this program in the future is going to be in the top 10 too, so people's going to be looking at us when they beat us. When they do, hopefully they don't very often, when we're in the top 10 thinking the same thing. But these are the type of wins that you can build on. These are the type of wins that recruits love to see for the future. These are the type of wins that you start getting All-American high school players because they know that you can beat them. It's not just me telling them we're going to beat Kentucky or we're going to beat Georgia, or we've done that, but anybody like a South Carolina or somebody like that, I'm not telling them that. They're seeing that. And we had a lot of people watching this game tonight at home, and I know I can't wait to get to my phone to text several of them.
During the 4-game losing streak, you guys weren't just losing, you're kind of getting blown out. I mean, was it a mental adjustment or was it physical? I mean, what did you think the
I didn't look at it as getting blown out. I looked at it as bad quarters. We were going through lulls in quarters. The other night in the second quarter, we scored 8 points. Why did we score 8 points? That's why you got blew out. Against Florida in the second quarter, we struggled. But at the same time, we wasn't guarding in those quarters, which then allows people to get away from you. In this league, if you let somebody get away from you, it's tough to come back. We didn't play bad in the third and fourth quarter. We played bad in the second quarter. We found a way tonight, and I told them we struggled. We scored 12 points in the second quarter. We didn't shoot the ball extremely well in the second quarter, but we held them to 13 points. So we relied on our defense. So if you're going to have a lull, you cannot have a lull defensively and offensively. You got to have it. If you're going to have it offensively, you've got to guard. And we did that tonight, and we just focused on that as a team. When we looked at it, why did we get beat 25? Why did we get beat 20? Why did that happen? And so we'd go back and look at it, and we'd find a quarter, or we'd find a 4-minute stretch where we didn't execute, where we let up. And we talked about those things, and we figured that out. And, you know, we're young, and we're growing, and we're going to take some lumps. We are. I know that. That's part of being a young team. But these freshmen will become sophomores, and these sophomores will become juniors next year, and now we will have experience because they're getting great game experience. It was great. I mean, we got beat the other night, but I felt like there was a lot of positive from a lot of players that we could build on as we moved into the Kentucky game, and we did that.
Your night kind of got off to a quick start with the from behind the three-point, but when did you start feeling maybe you were kind of in a rhythm there?
I'd probably say like I felt from shoot-around this morning. Coach Alex, my position coach, was telling me like follow through and keep my arm up, and that's all I did today, and just my shots were falling.
Coach, real quick, could you kind of comment on the rumor that y'all had a former Kentucky player sign with y'all and be joining y'all next season?
We do. Crochet has signed to join our basketball program. She was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year at Oregon. They had a coaching change there, and she left there and went to Kentucky. And I don't really know what happened at Kentucky. Matthew and I have talked a little bit about it. But at the end of the day, she has a pencil to write her future, and she's got to finish her future here. And I'm excited about her joining us. She's another player that we can add to our program that's going to help us. And, she's going to have a clean slate when she walks on this campus on Monday, and she's excited about that, and I'm excited about that. I've known her for a while. And I feel real confident after talking to her that she understands this is her last chance, and she's got to make the most of that. I think we've been pretty successful with players at Ole Miss through the years that a lot of people thought, this kid's had trouble here or there. And Marshall Henderson was real successful at Ole Miss. We got a quarterback right now that's been very successful. And, I'm real confident that she's going to be very successful when she gets here and gets in our program. And whatever happened at Kentucky happened there. And she's got to move on from that, and we've got to start anew when she gets here. But I can't wait for her to get here on Monday. She's going to be a great asset to our program.
What's the biggest difference since Florida and tonight?
We've practiced in the pavilion. We've shot shots in the pavilion. That's been a huge difference to get comfortable with a building, and that's something that when shooters. It's important to get comfortable with a building. And obviously when you go on the road, that's why it makes it so tough on the road. But we've got in here, and we've got a lot of shooting up in here, and we've worked out in here. We fell on the floor. We got after it yesterday. Yesterday was the first time that we practiced in here that it wasn't a lot of construction going on. There wasn't a lot of people in here, so we could really focus in on what was going on, and I think that was huge for our progression yesterday. But this is the nicest I will go on record and say this is the nicest facility in all of college basketball. There's not one nicer. Everybody that walks in this building, Coach Mitchell told me out there before the game, he said, this is an unbelievable place. It really is. And now that you got this place, it's up to us to start new traditions in it. And there's a lot of magic in this place, as we've seen with the men's games in here. And as I told the girls before the game, it's time for us to go make some magic happen in this building, and we did tonight.
Shaquille, you guys had like a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then it almost went away in just a minute or two. And then Chandrika hit that big layup and everything. Was that kind of when you felt good about the win? I mean, what do you think the tide kind of turned right there?
I think we was just like forcing shots, and I was telling the team, I think they saw me a lot shouting on the court. I realised that I'm the oldest, so I had to like take control of the team. We don't need to force shots, and we had this lead, so time was on our side, so just take our time and make easy shots.
And kind of what Matt was talking about, putting 4 quarters together, why did you think you guys were more successful with that tonight?
I think we played 5 minutes two 5 minutes in every quarter, like we tried to beat Kentucky. So we wasn't playing it as a quarter, we was playing it as 5 minutes in each quarter, and that seemed to work today.
Anything else? Great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.